we're going to open up the building planning meeting and for 4-4. Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We don't currently have last month's minutes. We will review last month and this month's minutes at next month's meeting. And then we don't have anything for the BZA board this evening.
One thing I guess I did forget. So Diane Anderson is opted to take on the role of the open spot that you have in the BZA.
Oh, great.
So
Good.
she is here for her inaugural meeting. And so now you got 5 people on your BZA again. You're back
Good.
up to your full
We're back to a full
contingent.
quorum, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
All right.
Thank
Well,
you,
we won't
Diane.
have a meeting this evening for that, but thank you. As far as continuing business on the BZA, do you have an update on the book? The
Planning book.
planning book, yes. Pete?
Which technically that's planning commission business, but we can talk about it within both, that's fine.
Right.
But
Do I need
so
to?
American Structure Point has contacted Pete.
April 7th, 10 to 10:30, they want to have a meeting,
April
and
7th.
they want to do it every 4 weeks.
10 to 10:30 in the morning,
Yes.
okay? Is that just with you, or is that with
No, it's for the whole,
whoever could be there
yes,
on the planning board,
yes.
okay?
And that's not part of the public input yet, correct? That's just our input. All right. So basically every month on the 7th is what they're going to shoot for. Around the 7th is what they'll shoot for. Okay.
Well, it depends on what day the 7th falls.
Right, I understand. Alrighty, and that's about all we have for that?
Yep.
Okay. Then the next,
That'll be here. They're gonna come here, or is it gonna be on?
Well,
The computer again.
She hadn't really designated that yet.
Okay. Because last time they just met with us virtually over
Yeah, I
the
had a virtual.
computer.
I'll check with her Monday. I just see that virtual myself.
Okay.
Would that invite be sent out to all of us? Like, if they do it virtually?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'll be working, but I'd like to be able to hop on if I can.
Right.
that would be beneficial for everybody at work
Yeah.
if we can do it that way. We could get more attendance.
Yeah.
10:30, right?
10.
10.
10 to
I'm
10:30.
sorry. 10 to 10:30.
And you'll just let us know by email what they're
Yes.
planning on doing, correct? Okay. And then the only other thing we have to discuss is the engineering proposal from Banning on the parking lot.
For 12 East Michigan Street, the vacant lot
Mhm.
across the street, on what kinds of progress we have been making on that so far, right?
Yes, as I showed you,
Mm-hmm.
they want $14,500 for the engineering part of it, which, would take care of the elevations and all the permits and stuff like that.
And the surveying.
And surveying the lot and all that, and then we get the contractors as needed.
Right. So we can provide copies to you guys on the building planning board to look at that. Like he said, it would have everything. It would be a complete project plan that they would come up with, engineering plan to hook into the sewer, the water, the storm drains, any runoff or anything like that. It would be a complete packet that we could hand to the contractors that we needed to do the job.
They would even help, in the engineering part, they would help with, you know, the bid process and making sure that the bidding agencies are responsive bidders, so that we don't get, you know, stuck with a fly-by-night organization that just ends up, you know, throwing some black paint on the gravel or something.
Yeah, they're taking care of the whole aspect. I know
I don't
what
know
you're
what.
saying.
I know-
That's a good
I know James Penner said that they did a repaving project a few years ago, and he said that it was less than 3 months. The paving had gigantic cracks in it, holes in it. It was, you could look across the parking lot, and it was, yeah, he said it just didn't seem like it was a quality, well done parking lot. So we want to make sure we're
Yeah,
getting.
we want qualified. We don't want to have to go back and fix it.
Right.
Rolled and compacted.
We don't need I-70 out there. As far as the interstate goes, they're always working on it.
And, you know, anything you get, you're gonna have to have upkeep and maintenance and redo stuff every once in a while, but you don't wanna have to redo it after 3 months
Hmm.
of them
Yeah.
putting in the project.
But as far
So
as there's,
that would be part of their job as the engineering, firm, is to, you know, review the bids, make sure we have a responsible bidder, and that.
yeah, and as far as their fees go, they're listing a lump sum fee to do all the design engineering, the bidding, any permits or anything that would require. They are estimating a $14,500 estimate to do all that engineering work and bidding of the jobs for the contractors and all that work that goes into it. The other thing that they've got listed is if we have to tie into the storm sewers that run along 39. They're estimating the hourly fee of $3,000 for the engineering on that to tie that in. So it would be an additional, to my understanding on this paper, that would be an additional to the 14,500 estimate.
Is that because those are the state-owned storm drains in there? So do ours in town tie into the state's storm drains, or do we have our own? Because it all flows down to Mud Creek, but.
Right. Well, when they redid the road, they also did the storm drains at that time, didn't they? Did they
Yeah.
not?
All right.
Just reading what they got listed there to inform you.
The general grade, though, I would think we'd probably end up on our own storm drains anyway,
You would
Yeah,
think,
so-
I would
Yeah,
think
it
so.
seems to
because it
slope
pitches to the east pretty
instead
hard.
of- It gets really muddy down there towards that
Right.
edge of that east edge of that property.
They've got listed out a tentative project schedule. Once they receive an approval from the town council to spend the money on it, it looks like they'd have the survey done in 4 weeks. And then they break it down individually, which we can give you guys copies of that if you'd like to see it.
Yeah, did they email you this, so we could email it
Yeah,
to the rest of the group?
I can make copies right now if you want me to.
All right, I mean, it'd
Yeah.
probably be easier just to email it to everybody. Rather than waste the paper. Would everybody be okay with that? Just
Yeah,
getting an
Yeah,
email
that's fine.
copy
I'll
of
take
it?
an email.
just email it to you?
Yeah, I just didn't have an email because I could pull it up on my big screen.
Okay.
And as far as that goes, we would have to, as a board, approve it to push it to the town council, correct?
Pete will take that to the board for,
Or Pete, will you,
Right.
are you just going to
Yeah,
take it to the
since-
board, I guess
right.
is my question, Pete?
Yeah, the planning committee, we don't have any way to authorize funds.
No, what I meant was,
So-
is Pete just going to go present this to the board this coming meeting to do this? Do we have to agree upon it as
I mean,
a board,
unless
is
we
my
had
question?
unless we had something else we wanted to do with that, other than the initial proposal. I know, this is just the fee for the engineering
Mhm.
part and not the cost estimate on what the finished
Construction will
project's
be,
gonna look
correct.
like, so.
Yes,
But yeah, that's
we
what-
have to have bids. idea what the whole project's gonna cost?
Yes, that would be the next step after that. We just have to know, is the town prepared to spend that amount of money on the engineering?
Yeah, so Pete's
part
gonna
of this?
go on our behalf to the
Right.
town council. That's what I was asking. We don't need to have like a formal vote to say, to have Pete go do it for us, correct?
No.
I mean,
Okay.
unless there was another thought from this group on what we wanted to do with 12 East Michigan, like somebody else came up with something other than a parking lot and said, oh, let's do this instead, I don't know,
Mm.
a Ferris wheel or, I don't
And
No,
Olive
that's-
Garden,
Was that free to get that estimate?
Huh?
That cost the town nothing to get that estimate, right?
To get the
No.
estimate for engineering, no.
So, I mean, what would it hurt to get another engineering firm to get an estimate from them?
We can.
I mean, so at least you know you're not getting, you know,
We can ask, yes, we could ask Pete to ask if another
Unless
engineering
we-
firm.
Contract with Banning?
I mean, we don't have an exclusive contract with Banning, we do have a contract with them, for services, but there's nothing in there is about there's no compete clause or that we have to get only estimates from them or nothing like that. So
I mean, we could ask American, if we wanted a second, well, not to interrupt, sorry. If we could ask American Structure Point. I mean, they're working on the book, the planning book. I know they do engineering. If we wanted another large firm such as Banning to look at it, that could quote it. If that's something that,
Yeah, Pete's also worked with HWC Engineering,
there you go.
same kind of thing, so ask if you wanna, more than one.
I mean, knowing what engineering costs and understanding a little bit of it, I don't think that's unreasonable for what they're gonna do, because they're gonna design the whole parking lot and everything and do all your permitting and all your bid work and all that. I don't think it's a bad idea to have a second opinion.
I'd still go with it if it's close, but you
Yeah,
never know until you actually get another estimate.
Sure.
right.
Which, I mean,
Yeah, I
it's
don't,
never wrong to do that. I know, like, the state of Indiana requires, if this were above $50,000, we have to get multiple bids, but because it's 14,000, we don't have to, but we certainly can.
I'm not trying to cry over crumbs, but it's each little bit.
oh yeah, it would I mean, if the guy come in, if one of them other guys comes in at 10,000, that saves you 4, but it would be worth asking. But the only thing, well, I mean,
Would we have to show them the drawings that we already have?
No,
No.
you definitely wouldn't wanna do that,
Well, I mean,
because then they,
but how, they're gonna have, we have to explain to them exactly what we wanted, right? The amount of parking spaces and the size of it and all that.
Alls we did the last time was tell them we wanted the entrances on the same road,
right, so,
and
yeah, you just tell whoever you contact, you say, hey, look, I'm interested in, an estimate on how much you charge us for engineering for this. We want a parking lot at 12 East Michigan, we want the entrances off of, entrance and exit off of Michigan, and, just tell us what you guys can come up with.
Okay.
Cause, I mean, you're kind of baiting them if you give them, the details that they had, and so then
Well,
they,
yeah, but I mean, I was just gonna say, okay, this is approximately what we want. You know,
sure. Yeah, you can say, that,
Yeah, because there wouldn't be any dollar signs involved in that, just showing, you know what I mean? So they wouldn't have any idea. You see what I'm saying?
yeah. I guess in my mind, a blank slate for them, might be easier, cause then you're not boxing them into something or giving them an idea to short circuit their own ideas. Maybe they come up with a better
Oh, okay.
thing without knowing what the other drawing looked
Right.
like. They come up with something that looks better,
Right.
more spaces or whatever, but,
Yeah.
so I don't know. That's
You're
their
pushing-
job, engineers.
You're pushing it on more spaces, cause you was having
I know.
100 on there before.
I did. I was overcompensating, I guess. I wanted there to be 100 spaces.
Yeah.
You're trying to
No such luck.
bring a lot of cars into town, aren't you?
I wanted a lot of cars there.
Well, I don't see a reason Pete shouldn't at least present that to the council to give an idea of what the cost is. That, we could use that as a baseline cost. And if we wanna go after cheap, quote others, I think that, but at least inform the council so maybe we can move forward to see if we can appropriate money sometime in the future to do this.
Yeah, let them know what we're planning,
Right,
and this may be a rough estimate, depending on
Yeah,
if another engineering firm comes in.
I think it's good to keep that rolling,
Right.
cause everybody else is gonna be 30 to 45 days out on another design and quote and.
Well, and it gives the council members, all the council members a heads up, this is the direction, this is what we have, this is what we're working with, we're waiting on, more proposals. Just so that way they know,
Our future reference work toward that, getting.
yeah, setting the funds back, yeah,
Isn't he saying it would be delayed?
right. Well, it'd also give the council a heads up to, I know you're on the council, but it would give you guys a heads up to say, hey, we need to start setting some funds back for this project. And they're not just hit with where we're pulling the money from.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, I do think that we already had at least a preliminary conversation with Jenny about where money would come from and available funds and that kind of stuff, so.
we do have
We've
funds
already started
available for
doing-
that, okay. I kinda figured we did since Pete was handing me that paper, but,
Yeah.
um,
All right.
So-
That's where we'll go forward. So the next council meeting, Pete will talk to the council about what we've got so far, but he'll also mention that he's reaching out to 2 other engineering firms to get an estimate from them, just to make sure we're not getting an unreasonable number from this group, and then we'll move forward there.
so hopefully we should have another proposal from another engineering firm by the next meeting, hopefully. Potentially, if they're 30 days out, maybe, I don't know, depending on their
I
scheduling.
don't know.
Okay, that works.
I know with HWC Engineering, when we contacted them about our community crossing matching grant and the pass a rating for our streets and that kind of stuff, they moved very quickly they were here in town and checked that kind of stuff out within a week they were working with us on stuff, so.
You just said grants, that brought a good thing. Is that something that they would look into on that? That is a question that we need to ask them, if that is something that they would, if there's any grants out there for parks or whatever town improvements that we could get. I don't know what they would classify that as, but
There are grants
That we could
that
apply
are
for to
available
help.
from different organizations. The big challenge we're up against here in Clayton is we have such a high median household income that we lose lots of points, and it's very difficult to get grants because they like to give grants to these little communities that have no money. So they're saying with our census 2020 census, our median household income was $73,000 a year. So they're going to say,
I understand. I just didn't know if they would look in.
But yeah, there are.
In case there
Main
is a
Street
grant or
America
something.
has grants available. What is it? I can't remember the other one I was looking at, but there are some other grants that you have to look at. But
Yeah, I mean, as long as they look like as part of the engineering side of it, if they're going to handle all that, if they would just look to see maybe if we might potentially qualify for a grant. I know it takes an application process and everything, but if it's there and we might potentially qualify for it, that would be less that the town would have to come up with for whatever portion of that project, if it's something
Sure.
that's
as
feasible.
long as we meet the criteria they.
Right.
I mean, that's what HWC Engineering helped us with the crossing matching grant by walking us through the grant application process.
Right.
And so I did most of the computer work, but they were like basically looking over my shoulder going, click here, put this number in
I
there.
understand.
So, yeah.
Okay. All right, that's good on that. You don't have anything else from Pete about any ongoings in the town or from any other
Not so-
board member? Nope. Okay, I'll open it up to your question.
Any word on the sewer line down there that's gonna go through my yard?
I haven't heard anything. When they supposed to start that? Do you remember?
Probably the more appropriate place to ask that question is at a town council meeting when George is here, because George has been the one, our
Okay.
wastewater treatment plant operator. He's been the one working with Banding Engineering on where they're at. So they're working on like 3 different projects with him.
Gotcha.
So he would be able to answer that, since that's the role we expect him to play right now,
Okay.
is to work on that project. But so sorry to
No,
defer
I just
this
need to know,
to another meeting.
get
Yeah,
my
but
stuff out of there,
So
or how
this-
it's gonna work, or, you know.
second Thursday, yeah, come back next week to and ask that to the town council, and then
Okay.
we can have George reply to that and see where they're at on that. I know that they've dealt with he showed me a video with that section just like 2 weeks ago,
Yeah,
and with the water flow. And even, I don't remember how long we had gone without rain when he did the video, but it was just a water flow like somebody
Yeah.
had a fire hydrant opened up. So it was pretty impressive, but. So yeah, sorry,
oh, no, that's fine.
have no answer for you now.
Now, second question, part A, subparagraph 3. The town was gonna look into, see if they could come up with anything about Dwayne. Dwayne couldn't make it tonight, he's down, and he's back in our lab. The town was gonna look to see if they could see any information on where that additional 10-foot was sold to his grandfather years ago on that, north of his lot there that moved when the alley went through there and the town supposedly sold it. Is anything found on that?
Well, the alley vacate wasn't a monetary exchange, it was just vacated. I mean, we found the paperwork and stuff on that, and it was in 1992, it was all recorded appropriately the way it was supposed to. So, you know, the big challenge is that since that's all private property, the property owner has to get a formal survey to show where those stakes should be, kind of thing.
Okay,
And so, and I mean, that's,
well, he said he had a little bit of a problem finding people to do survey work right now, 'cause,
Oh, everybody's buried.
yeah, buried.
okay.
So he was looking into it, but I just wondered if it.
Sure.
We haven't heard anything out of the gentleman that's wanting to build yet either, so he has not come back to us with anything,
Really?
no. No.
Well, no,
Yeah.
news is good news.
Well,
I don't-
know what, yeah.
I mean, I can read the legal description of the property, but it's like Greek to me because
Sure.
it uses coordinates from GPS and 100 feet from this intersection, blah, blah, blah. So, but the survey companies, I mean, that's their bread and butter, so
Yeah.
they know how to do all that. But, you know, the
Okay, I was
contention is
just wondering.
all based on, you know, that the legal paperwork is there. It's just a matter of the interpretation has to fit with both property owners on where that line should be. And that, unfortunately, the town doesn't have any authority to state to either property owner, here's where your line should be. It's up to the property owners to debate that and come to a consensus based on their surveys.
Okay. I'm done.
Does anybody else get any questions or comments or concerns? Nope. Anything else to add this evening? All right, we will call the